The edge of human space was quiet today. Too quiet, thought Captain Olivia Martinez as she looked out at the stars from the bridge of the UES Relentless. She had been in command of this patrol vessel for 3 years now, and she had learned to trust her gut. Something felt off. "Captain, I'm picking up unusual energy readings at bearing 047 Mark 183, said Lieutenant Commander Alan Kelly from the tactical station. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel as he analyzed the data. "It's unlike anything in our database." Martinez nodded and straightened her uniform jacket. "Distance? About 5 million kilometers and holding position," Kelly replied. "Definitely not natural. It has to be a ship, but it's not broadcasting any identification signals we recognize." The captain walked over to the science station where Daniel Wright was already reviewing the sensor data. Wright had been the ship's xenobiologist and first contact specialist for years, but even he looked puzzled by what he was seeing. "Any thoughts, Daniel?" Martinez asked. Wright shook his head slowly. "The energy signature suggests incredibly advanced technology. If it's a ship, its power source is like nothing we've encountered before." Martinez tapped her communication badge. "Engineering, this is the captain. Samantha, are you seeing these readings?" Chief Engineer Samantha Powell's voice came through clearly. "Yes, Captain. Whatever's out there is putting out enough energy to power all of Earth for a year, but it's perfectly contained. I've never seen efficiency like this." Martinez returned to her command chair. "Yellow alert. Shields at 50%, but keep weapons powered down. Let's not appear hostile." She took a deep breath. "Alan, open a channel on all standard frequencies. Let's see if they want to talk." For several minutes, nothing happened. The bridge crew waited in tense silence. Then, suddenly, the main view screen lit up with an image that made several crew members gasp. The aliens were tall and slender, with skin that seemed to shimmer with a pearly iridescence. Their large eyes were entirely black, and they had no visible ears or nose, just elegant slits, where those features would be on a human. The alien in the center wore an elaborate garment that flowed around its body like water. "I am High Observer Nexalara of the Vextari Collective," the alien said, its voice melodic and perfectly translated. "We greet the unknown vessel." Martinez stepped forward. "I am Captain Olivia Martinez of the United Earthship Relentless. We welcome you to this sector of space." The alien's head tilted slightly. "We have not encountered your species before. You are new to the stars?" There was something in the alien's tone that made Martinez feel like she was being talked down to. "Humanity has been exploring space for over a century," she replied evenly. "A mere moment," Nexalara said with what seemed like a gentle smile. "The Vextari have sailed the cosmic ocean for millennia. We are pleased to make your acquaintance, young ones." Wright stepped forward, eyes bright with excitement. "We would be honored to exchange cultural and scientific information with your people, High Observer." "Of course," Nexalara replied. "It is our practice to study new civilizations we encounter. Would you permit us to scan your vessel? A simple procedure for classification purposes. We can then better understand how to engage with your species." Martinez glanced at Kelly, who gave a slight shake of his head. She turned back to the screen. "We would be willing to allow limited scans of non-sensitive areas of our ship. We hope you understand that some caution is natural in a first contact situation." "Of course, Captain," Nexalara said smoothly. "We would expect nothing less. Our scan will be respectful of your boundaries." After the communication ended, Security Chief Lisa Blackwood approached Martinez. "Captain, I don't like this. They're acting too superior." "I noticed that too," Martinez agreed. "But this is too important an opportunity to pass up. Keep a close eye on what they're scanning, and be ready to block anything that goes too deep." When the scan began, it felt like a gentle hum throughout the ship. In engineering, Samantha Powell watched her instruments carefully. "They're looking at our hull composition, life support, and propulsion systems," she reported to the captain. "Basic stuff so far." On the alien vessel named Enlightened Discovery, the Vextari scientists studied the results with mild interest. "Such primitive technology," one said, looking at the data streams. "Their ship uses nuclear fusion for power. They haven't even mastered gravity manipulation properly. Next, Lara moved gracefully among the science stations. What of their weapons? Basic directed energy weapons and some form of explosive projectiles, reported another scientist. Nothing that could threaten us. Their shields are particularly primitive. As expected, Nexalara said with satisfaction. They are children playing with toys. Back on the Relentless, Daniel Wright was working with communications specialist Eric Ramirez to learn more about the Vextari language. Their language structure is fascinating, Ramirez said. They communicate with sound like we do, but there are subtle telepathic elements as well. I think they're actually sharing more information than we can detect, Wright nodded. Their technology seems to be integrated with their biology in ways I don't fully understand yet. It's as if their machines are extensions of themselves. On the bridge, Martinez was speaking with Nexalara again. The alien's manner remained politely condescending. We have completed our initial assessment, Captain. Your species shows promise despite your technological limitations. We would be pleased to offer guidance to help you advance more quickly. Martinez kept her expression neutral, though she felt a flash of irritation. That's very generous. What sort of guidance did you have in mind? Perhaps we could begin with improvements to your propulsion systems, Nexalara suggested. Your method of travel is quite quaint. Before Martinez could respond, an alarm sounded. Kelly's hands flew over his console. Captain, there's been a power surge in the defense grid. Some kind of feedback from their scan. The lights flickered briefly throughout the ship. In that moment, the Vextari scan penetrated deeper than intended, briefly accessing the ship's tactical database. On the Vextari vessel, a scientist called out in surprise. Hi, Observer, I'm receiving unusual readings from their defensive systems. There appears to be more than we initially detected. Nexalara moved quickly to view the data. Interesting. Scan deeper. I want to know what they're hiding. But before they could continue, the scan connection was abruptly cut off. On the Relentless, Blackwood had noticed the intrusion and shut down the link. Captain, they were going beyond the agreed boundaries, she reported. They were starting to access tactical systems and weapons specifications. Martinez's expression hardened. Open a channel. When Nexalara appeared on screen, she didn't bother hiding her displeasure. Hi, Observer. Your scan exceeded the agreed parameters. Care to explain why? Nexalara's expression showed what might have been embarrassment. A technical misunderstanding, Captain. Our scanning technology sometimes seeks additional data automatically. We meant no offense. I see, Martinez said, clearly not believing the explanation. Then you'll understand if we're more cautious going forward. Of course, Nexalara replied, smoothly. In fact, to demonstrate our good faith, we would like to offer a cultural exchange. Our medical technology could be of great benefit to your people. In return, we request only a more controlled scan, focusing specifically on your propulsion systems. We are most curious about how you manage interstellar travel with your current technology. In engineering, Powell heard this request and frowned. Captain, I don't recommend this. Our engines may be less advanced than theirs, but the modifications we've made contain proprietary Earth technology. Martinez considered this. Advanced medical technology could save countless lives back home. And what harm could come from letting them see the engines? The Vextari clearly already had far superior technology. Very well, High Observer, Martinez decided. We will allow a controlled scan of our propulsion systems. Chief Engineer Powell will oversee the process personally. As the connection ended, Wright approached the captain. They're hiding something. Did you notice how interested they were in our technology despite claiming it's primitive? Martinez nodded. I noticed. But let's see where this goes. Sometimes you learn more about someone from what they choose to look at than from what they choose to say. In the engine room, Powell prepared for the second scan. Focus only on the main propulsion systems, she instructed her team. Nothing about the auxiliary systems or the emergency protocols. As the second scan began, the Vextari scientist Zev Mora watched the data with mild interest. But then something caught his attention. His eyes widened as he looked deeper at what the humans called just a patrol vessel. What he saw made his slender fingers freeze above his control panel. Behind him, Nexalara approached, curious about his sudden stillness. "What is it? What have you found?" the High Observer asked. Zevmora turned, his black eyes wide with what could only be described as fear. "High Observer," he whispered. "We may have made a terrible mistake." On the Vexitari ship, High Observer Nexalara moved closer to the science station. "Explain yourself, Zevmora. What have you found?" The scientist's slender fingers trembled as he pointed to the display. "The human vessel. It's not what we thought. Look at these readings from their propulsion system." The data showed engine modifications that made no sense to the Vextari. The humans had taken basic fusion technology and altered it in ways that defied the Vextari understanding of physics. "They've designed their engines to run even when damaged," Zevmora explained. "Multiple redundant systems, manual overrides. Everything can be repaired quickly during what they call combat conditions." Nexalara's eyes narrowed. "Combat conditions? They expect to use this ship in battle?" "It gets worse," Zevmora continued. "I caught a glimpse of their power distribution network. They can redirect all power to weapons or shields in seconds. This isn't a patrol vessel, High Observer. It's a warship disguised as a patrol vessel." On the bridge of the Relentless, Captain Martinez noticed the scan had stopped suddenly. "What happened, Powell? Did they finish already?" "No, Captain," the chief engineer replied over the comm. "They just stopped, like they saw something that spooked them." Lieutenant Commander Kelly looked up from his tactical station. "Captain, the alien vessel is powering up its engines. I think they're preparing to leave." "Open a channel," Martinez ordered. When Nexalara appeared on screen, the alien's demeanor had changed completely. Gone was the condescending attitude, replaced by something that looked almost like anxiety. "High Observer, is everything all right?" Martinez asked. "Your scan ended abruptly." "We have collected sufficient data, Captain," Nexalara said, voice now stiff and formal. "The Vextari Collective thanks you for this cultural exchange. We must now process this information before continuing our discussions." Before Martinez could respond, the transmission ended. Kelly reported, "They're moving away at high speed, Captain. Should we follow?" Martinez shook her head. "No. Let them go. But I want to know what they saw that changed their attitude so dramatically." "Powell, Wright, Blackwood. Meeting in my ready room in 10 minutes. In the ready room, Martinez looked at her senior officers. "Opinions? What spooked our new friends?" Security Chief Blackwood spoke first. "They were scanning our propulsion systems, but I detected their scan branching into other areas, specifically our damage control systems and power distribution network." Powell nodded. "That makes sense. Our engines are designed to take a beating and keep running. Most civilian ships focus on efficiency, not combat resilience. And our power grid can instantly redirect energy to weapons or shields," Kelly added. "That's standard for all UES vessels, but maybe it's not common elsewhere." Science Officer Wright leaned forward. "Consider it from their perspective. They encountered what they thought was a simple patrol vessel from a young species. Then they discover it's actually built for war, with systems designed specifically to keep fighting even when damaged." "But that's just standard design," Martinez said, puzzled. "Any ship that goes into potentially dangerous space would have these features." "Maybe not," Wright suggested. "From what little we've learned about the Vextari, they seem to have evolved as a cooperative species. Perhaps they've never needed to design their technology with combat as the primary purpose." Communications specialist Eric Ramirez had been studying the linguistic data they'd collected. "Their language lacks many terms for conflict or aggression. They have complex words for consensus and harmony, but very simple, almost childlike terms for fighting or violence." Martinez considered this. "So we may have accidentally revealed ourselves as potential predators without meaning to." On the Vextari ship, an emergency council had been called. Nexalara stood before the ship's senior staff, including the newly revealed military advisor Krenthul, who had been hiding his role behind the title of security consultant. The humans are far more dangerous than we anticipated, Nexalara announced. Their ship is designed for warfare, with capabilities that suggest they regularly engage in violent conflict. Krenthul, a rare Vextari who had studied military history, spoke up. We must leave this sector immediately. Species that evolve with strong predatory instincts often expand aggressively into new territories. But they seemed peaceful, objected one of the scientists. They offered cultural exchange. A predator doesn't always show its teeth immediately, Krenthul replied grimly. I recommend we return to Vexitari space and send a full battle group to monitor this region. Zev Mora had been quiet, but now he spoke. There's something else you should know. Before the scan ended, I detected what might be an artificial intelligence system integrated throughout their ship. It was watching us while we were scanning them. This news sent a ripple of distress through the council. AI technology was strictly regulated in Vextari space due to its unpredictable nature. Back on the Relentless, the ship's AI system Aria was indeed analyzing the alien scan patterns. Though the humans hadn't revealed Aria's existence to the Vexitari, the AI had been monitoring all interactions. Captain, Aria's calm voice came through Martinez's private comm unit. I believe the aliens were disturbed by the military nature of our vessel's design. Martinez was in her quarters, reviewing the day's events. Explain, Aria. Their scan patterns suggest they were expecting a ship designed primarily for exploration or trade. When they discovered our combat capabilities, their scan pattern became erratic, suggesting emotional distress. Martinez sighed. Great. Our first contact with a new species and we've already frightened them. Perhaps this is a cultural misunderstanding that can be resolved, Aria suggested. Their technology is far more advanced than ours in many areas. If they truly wished us harm, they could have attacked rather than retreated. The next morning, Martinez called the senior staff to the conference room to discuss strategy. Everyone was tired from a night of heightened alert status, watching to see if the Vexitari would return. Any sign of them? Martinez asked as she entered. Kelly shook his head. Nothing, Captain. They've completely left the sector as far as we can tell. We should send a message to Fleet Command, Blackwood suggested. Request reinforcements in case they return with hostile intentions. Martinez nodded. Already done. Admiral Hayes is diverting 2 ships to our position. They'll arrive in about 3 days. Medical Officer Gregory Howard, who had been studying the biological data they'd collected on the Vextari, spoke up. Captain, I believe I may understand their reaction better now. The Vextari appear to be descended from herd herbivores. Their eyes are set on the sides of their head, giving them a wide field of vision, typical of prey species. Go on, Martinez encouraged. Humans, on the other hand, evolved as persistence hunters with forward-facing eyes. To a species with their evolutionary background, we would appear as natural predators. Add to that our ship's obvious combat capabilities, and we must seem like dangerous carnivores to them. Wright nodded enthusiastically. That makes perfect sense. Their entire civilization probably evolved without the constant warfare that has shaped human history. They might not understand why we would build ships ready for battle unless we were actively looking for conflict. So how do we fix this? Martinez asked. I don't want Earth's first contact with the Vextari to end with them thinking we're violent conquerors. Before anyone could answer, Kelly's console beeped. Captain, long-range sensors are picking up multiple vessels entering the sector. They appear to be Vexitari, but much larger than the science vessel we encountered. Martinez stood up, her expression grim. Red alert. All hands to battle stations. As the alarm sounded throughout the ship, Martinez stared at the tactical display. The Vexitari ships were approaching in a perfect formation, moving with precision. That suggested intense coordination. Are they charging weapons? She asked. Kelly studied his readings. I can't tell, Captain. Their energy signatures are fluctuating, but in patterns I don't recognize. Open a channel, Martinez ordered. Let's try talking before things get out of hand. For several tense moments there was no response. Then the view screen lit up, showing not Nexalara but a new Vextari, wearing elaborate ceremonial garments that seemed to shimmer with internal light. "I am Supreme Council Representative Tolvek of the Vextari Collective," the alien announced. "We have returned to continue our evaluation of your species." Martinez straightened her uniform. "I am Captain Olivia Martinez. We welcome peaceful contact, but I must ask about your intentions with this show of force." Tolvek's large eyes blinked slowly. "Force? No, Captain. This is not force, this is insurance. Your species has surprised us. We wish to understand you better, but safely." Martinez could feel the tension on the bridge. This was the moment that could define humanity's relationship with an advanced alien civilization for generations to come. "We have much to discuss, Representative Tolvek," she said carefully. "Perhaps we could start by addressing what concerned your science team during their scan of our vessel." Tolvek leaned forward slightly. "Yes, Captain. Let us discuss why a supposedly peaceful species builds ships designed for war." Captain Martinez considered her response carefully. The bridge was silent as everyone waited to see how she would handle this delicate situation. "Representative Tolvek, humanity has faced many challenges throughout our history," she began. "We build our ships with defensive capabilities because space is vast and often dangerous. It's not about seeking conflict, it's about being prepared for it." The alien's expression was unreadable. "You expect conflict as a natural state? This is disturbing to us." Martinez gestured to Science Officer Wright, who stepped forward. "If I may, our species evolved as tribal hunters. Being ready to defend ourselves is deeply ingrained in our psychology, but so is cooperation and peaceful exchange. The same instincts that make us prepare for danger also drive us to protect those under our care." Tolvek seemed to consider this. "We request permission to send a diplomatic team to your vessel. We wish to understand your perspective better." Martinez nodded. "We would welcome that. In the spirit of transparency, I should inform you that we have requested additional Earth ships to join us. They will arrive in approximately 3 days. This news caused visible agitation among the Vextari visible on the screen. Tolvek's aide whispered something urgently in his ear. "More warships?" Tolvek asked, his voice rising slightly. "You claim peaceful intentions while summoning a battle fleet?" "2 ships," Martinez corrected calmly. "Standard procedure when making first contact with a new species, just as you brought additional vessels for what you called insurance." After a tense moment, Tolvek nodded. "Very well. We will send our diplomatic team in 1 hour. Please prepare to receive them." When the transmission ended, Martinez turned to her crew. "Opinions?" Weapons Specialist Nicole Garcia spoke up for the first time. She had been quietly monitoring the alien vessel's capabilities from her station. "Those ships are heavily armed, Captain. I'm detecting energy signatures that could be weapons far beyond our technology level. But they haven't powered them up," Navigation Officer Peter Connors pointed out. "If they wanted a fight, they would have come in hot." Diplomatic Officer Jason Miller, who had been called to the bridge when the Vextari returned, offered his assessment. "This is a classic case of cultural misunderstanding. They're afraid of us, and we need to show them we're not the threat they think we are." "Agreed," Martinez said. "Miller, you'll lead the reception team. Wright, Howard, I want you there too. Help them understand us. Kelly, you have the bridge while I join the diplomatic team." In the shuttle bay, Martinez waited with her officers as the Vextari transport approached. It was a beautiful craft that seemed to shimmer as it moved, more like a living creature than a machine. "Remember," Miller advised quietly, "every gesture and word will be analyzed. They're already suspicious of our intentions." The transport docked with surprising grace. When the doors opened, 6 Vextari emerged, led by Tolvek himself. Behind him was military advisor Krenthul, now openly displaying his rank, and the scientist Zevmora. "Welcome aboard the Relentless," Martinez said with a small bow, a gesture the diplomatic team had suggested might be appreciated by the Vextari. Tolvek returned the bow. "We appreciate your hospitality, Captain, though I must admit, standing inside what our scans identified as a warship is unsettling for my people." Martinez noticed how the Vextari delegation stayed close together, moving as a coordinated unit. Their eyes constantly scanned the surroundings, reminding her of nervous deer in an open field. "Please, follow me to our conference room where we can speak more comfortably," she offered. As they walked through the corridors, Martinez noticed Zev Mora studying everything intensely. The alien scientist seemed less afraid and more fascinated than his companions. In the conference room, the Vexitari remained standing until Martinez and her team took seats, then carefully arranged themselves on the opposite side of the table. Krenthul positioned himself protectively near Tolvek. "Let us be direct," Tolvek began. "Our second scan of your vessel revealed aspects of your technology that alarmed us greatly. Your ship is designed not merely for defense but for sustained warfare." Martinez nodded. "That's correct. All United Earth ships are built with combat capabilities." "But why?" Zev Mora asked, genuine curiosity in his voice. "Who do you fight?" The human officers exchanged glances. Miller spoke carefully. "Humanity has encountered other species in our exploration. Not all were friendly." This caught the Vextari's attention. Krenthul leaned forward. "You have fought other species and survived?" "Several times," Martinez confirmed. "The most recent was the Corvin incursion 5 years ago. They attacked 3 of our outer colonies before we could drive them back." The Vexitari delegation seemed shocked by this information. They conferred among themselves in their own language, their movements becoming more agitated. Wright whispered to Martinez, "I think we just scared them more, not less." When Tolvek turned back to them, his demeanor had changed. "Captain, we must see these combat capabilities directly. We request a demonstration of your defensive systems." Martinez was surprised by this request. "A demonstration? What exactly did you have in mind?" "Show us how your ship would respond to an attack," Krenthul said. "Not with actual weapons, of course, but a simulation." Miller looked concerned, but Martinez saw an opportunity. "Very well. We can run a battle drill that will demonstrate our procedures." She tapped her communication badge. "Bridge, this is the captain. Prepare for drill Alpha 7. Non-firing demonstration only." "Acknowledged, Captain," Kelly's voice replied. "Ready when you are." Martinez led the Vextari delegation back to the bridge. As they entered, she noticed how they stared at the tactical stations, weapons controls, and the large central command chair, all designed for efficiency during combat. "Begin drill," Martinez ordered as she took her seat. Immediately, the lighting changed to a red hue, and a calm alarm sounded throughout the ship. The bridge crew moved with practiced precision, calling out status reports and tactical information. "Multiple hostile contacts detected," Kelly announced, playing his role. "Shields up, weapon systems online, targeting solutions acquired. Evasive pattern Delta," Connors called out from navigation. "Computing optimal firing positions." "Damage control team standing by," came Powell's voice from engineering. "All power reserves ready for tactical distribution." Garcia's fingers flew over the weapons console. Simulated firing solution complete. Forward batteries locked on primary target. Secondary weapons tracking additional threats. The Vextari watched in stunned silence as the crew efficiently prepared the ship for battle in less than 30 seconds. Martinez noticed that Krenthul was particularly focused on the tactical displays, his expression a mixture of fear and professional appreciation. "End drill," Martinez ordered after a minute. The lights returned to normal, and the crew resumed their standard positions. Tolvek seemed shaken. "Your entire crew knows how to fight?" "Every member of a United Earth ship is trained for combat situations," Martinez explained. "It's standard procedure." "Even your scientists? Your medical personnel?" Zev Mora asked incredulously. Wright nodded. "Everyone. I'm primarily a xenobiologist, but I can operate tactical systems if needed." The revelation seemed to paralyze the Vextari delegation. They stood motionless, processing what they had witnessed. Finally, Krenthul broke the silence. "In our civilization, only specialized security units receive any form of combat training. The idea of an entire crew ready for battle is unprecedented." You live inside a weapon, Tolvek said quietly. Your home is designed to kill. Martinez recognized the growing fear in the aliens and knew she needed to change their perspective quickly. We see it differently. This ship is our home, and we've designed it to protect that home and everyone in it. She paused. Representative Tolvek, would you allow us to learn more about your civilization? Perhaps if we understood your perspective better, we could find common ground. Tolvek seemed hesitant, but Zevmora spoke up eagerly. I would be interested in such an exchange. Your species is unlike any we have encountered. A cultural exchange would be acceptable, Tolvek finally agreed. But we must also report our findings to the collective. Your combat capabilities present concerns. As the Vexitari prepared to return to their ship, Junior Officer Benjamin Rodriguez approached Martinez. At 22, he was the youngest officer on the bridge. Captain, he said quietly, permission to join the cultural exchange team? I've been studying their language patterns, and I think I might be able to help build understanding. Martinez considered the young officer. His enthusiasm might be exactly what they needed right now. Permission granted, Rodriguez. Work with Miller to prepare. As the Vexitari delegation departed, Martinez knew that the next few days would determine the future relationship between their species. The aliens now saw humans as dangerous predators, living inside ships designed for war. Somehow she needed to help them see beyond that fear. Back on their vessel, Tolvek called an emergency meeting. We must prepare for all possibilities, he told his senior staff. The humans are far more dangerous than we anticipated. Krenthul nodded grimly. They are efficient warriors, with technology designed specifically for combat. If they decided to attack... But Zevmora interrupted him. Yet they haven't attacked. Despite their capabilities, they've shown only restraint and openness. Tolvek looked thoughtful. Perhaps. But one thing is certain. We have much to learn about these humans before we can trust them. 3 days passed with cautious exchanges between the humans and the Vextari. Both sides shared information about their cultures, histories, and technologies, though certain military details remained private on both sides. Junior Officer Rodriguez had surprised everyone with his natural ability to connect with the Vextari. His genuine curiosity and open manner seemed to put the aliens at ease, especially the scientist Zevmora, who had begun to show similar interest in human ways. Their entire civilization developed without major predators, Rodriguez explained to Captain Martinez during a private briefing. Their home planet had few large carnivores, and those that existed couldn't hunt in groups. The Vexitari evolved by cooperating to find food and shelter, not by fighting. That explains a lot, Martinez said. To them, our military readiness looks like aggression because they never needed to develop those instincts. Exactly. When they look at our ship, they don't see defense, they see a predator ready to attack. Their conversation was interrupted by a call from the bridge. Captain, we're detecting the approach of 2 vessels, Kelly reported. It's Admiral Hayes with the reinforcements. On my way, Martinez replied. As she headed to the bridge, she hoped the arrival of more human ships wouldn't undo the fragile progress they'd made with the Vexitari. On the bridge, the view screen showed 2 powerful Earth ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. The UES Intrepid, Admiral Hayes' flagship, was nearly twice the size of the Relentless, and its escort, the UES Defender, was clearly a dedicated combat vessel. The Vexitari are hailing us, Communications Officer Ramirez announced. They seem concerned. Open a channel, Martinez ordered, and get me Admiral Hayes on a separate line. Tolvek's face appeared on the screen, his normally calm demeanor visibly shaken. Captain Martinez, you claimed these would be diplomatic vessels, yet our scans show they are heavily armed warships. All United Earth ships have defensive capabilities. Representative, as we've discussed, Martinez replied calmly. Admiral Hayes is coming to help establish formal diplomatic relations between our peoples. The Admiral's vessel has 3 times the weapons capacity of your ship, military advisor, Krenthul stated, appearing beside Tolvek. And the smaller vessel appears designed primarily for combat, Martinez couldn't deny this. The Defender is a protection vessel, yes, but their presence here is peaceful. Please, give us a chance to prove that. After a tense moment, Tolvek nodded. We will await your Admiral's arrival, but the collective has been notified of these developments. When the transmission ended, Admiral Catherine Hayes's face appeared on the second screen. The Admiral was a stern woman in her 60s with decades of experience in space exploration and defense. Quite a situation you found yourself in, Captain, Hayes remarked with a slight smile. First contact with an advanced species and they're already afraid of us. They evolved differently than we did, Admiral, Martinez explained. Their society developed without the constant conflicts that shaped human history. Our military capabilities seem aggressive rather than defensive to them. Hayes nodded thoughtfully. Well, we'll just have to show them we can be good neighbors despite our differences. Permission to come aboard? An hour later, Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the Relentless reviewing the information they had gathered about the Vextari. The Admiral had always been known for her directness, and she didn't disappoint now. We need to invite them here, she declared. All of them, their leaders, their military advisors, their scientists. Let them see how humans operate up close. Martinez looked surprised. Admiral, they're already nervous about being on what they consider a warship. Exactly, Hayes said with a knowing smile. So let's show them what we do with our warships when we're not at war. Let's have a dinner. Later that day, the Vextari delegation, now expanded to include several more officials who had arrived from their home fleet, entered the Relentless's main mess hall. The room had been transformed. The tables were arranged in a large circle, with humans and Vexitari alternating seats. Soft music played, and the lighting had been adjusted to match the preferred spectrum of both species. Admiral Hayes stood to welcome them. Representatives of the Vextari Collective, we are honored by your presence. Today we hope to show you another purpose of our vessels, to bring people together, to share food and stories, and to build understanding. The Vexitari seemed confused by this use of a warship, but took their places cautiously. Rodriguez had been seated next to Zev Mora, and the two quickly fell into animated conversation about their respective worlds. As the meal progressed, the Vextari gradually relaxed. They were particularly fascinated by the concept of preparing food for enjoyment rather than just nutrition, as their own diet consisted of synthesized nutrient solutions. Your species puts surprising effort into something as simple as eating, Tolvek observed to Admiral Hayes. Humans find joy in many things, Hayes replied. Even our ships serve multiple purposes. Yes, they can fight, but they're also our homes, our laboratories, our meeting places. The conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. Admiral, Captain, sensors are detecting multiple unknown vessels entering the system at high speed. They aren't responding to hails. The Vextari delegation tensed immediately, their brief comfort forgotten. Krenthul rose to his feet. Is this some kind of trap? No, Martinez said firmly. These aren't our ships. She turned to Hayes. Permission to return to the bridge, Admiral? Granted. I'll join you shortly, Hayes said, then addressed the Vexitari. Representatives, I assure you this is not our doing. You're welcome to return to your vessels if you wish, or join us on the bridge to observe how we handle this situation. To everyone's surprise, Tolvek stood tall. We will accompany you. If these are unknown vessels, perhaps we can assist in communication efforts. On the bridge, the tension was palpable as everyone watched the approaching ships on the tactical display. 5 vessels, unknown configuration, Kelly reported. They're moving in attack formation. Raise shields, Martinez ordered. But hold weapons, let's not make assumptions. The Vexitari gathered at the back of the bridge, watching with wide eyes as the human crew calmly prepared for a potential threat. Those ships, Krenthul said suddenly, stepping forward. I recognize that configuration. They're Dravek raiders. You know them? Admiral Hayes asked sharply. Tolvek nodded grimly. They attack isolated settlements and ships. We've had troubles with them in the past. They take what they want and destroy the rest. They're powering weapons, Kelly called out. They're targeting the smallest Vexitari vessel. Before anyone could react, bright beams of energy lanced out from the lead raider ship, striking one of the smaller Vexitari vessels. The alien ship's shields flared but held. Red alert! Battle stations! Martinez ordered, her voice steady despite the sudden crisis. Target the lead raider vessel. Warning shots only. The Relentless moved smoothly into position, placing itself between the raiders and the Vexitari ships. The UES Defender and Intrepid quickly followed suit, forming a protective barrier. The raiders are hailing us, Ramirez reported. On screen, Hayes commanded. A harsh-faced alien appeared with mottled gray skin and prominent ridges above small dark eyes. Human vessels, this is not your concern. The Vexitari are our prey today. Stand aside or be destroyed. Admiral Hayes stepped forward. This is Admiral Catherine Hayes of the United Earth Fleet. The Vexitari are under our protection. Leave this system immediately. The raider captain laughed. The Vexitari? Under protection? They're merchants and scientists, not warriors. And you? We know nothing of your kind. Stand aside. Hayes turned to Martinez. Captain, show them we're serious. Weapons Officer Garcia, target their lead ship's propulsion systems, Martinez ordered. Fire when ready. The Relentless weapons discharged powerful beams striking the raider vessel with surgical precision. The alien ship rocked from the impact, lights flickering. Their engines are disabled, Captain, Garcia reported. Clean hit. The Vexitari watched in amazement as the human ships moved with coordinated precision to surround the raiders. Weapons locked on each target. You have 1 minute to power down your weapons, Hayes told the raider captain, or we will disable each of your vessels. Faced with this unexpected resistance, the raiders quickly surrendered. As security teams from the Defender boarded the raider vessels, Martinez turned to find the Vexitari delegation staring at them with a completely new expression, one that looked almost like admiration. You protected us, Tolvec said slowly, without hesitation. Martinez nodded. Of course, that's what these ships are really for, not just fighting, but protecting those who need help. For the first time, Krenthul stepped forward and extended his hand in a gesture he had learned from Rodriguez. Perhaps we have misjudged your species, Captain Martinez. What we saw as the tools of predators may in fact be the shields of guardians. Admiral Hayes smiled. That's exactly what we are, Representative. Guardians. While we hope for peace, we prepare for threats, not to conquer, but to defend. 1 week later, as the human and Vexitari delegations signed their first formal alliance agreement, Rodriguez stood beside Zev Mora, watching their leaders shake hands. You're still nervous around our ships, aren't you? Rodriguez asked his new friend. Zev Mora's large eyes blinked slowly. Yes, but I'm learning to see them differently. Where once I saw only weapons, I now see protection. He paused. Your people are strange, Benjamin Rodriguez, living inside your shields, always ready for danger. But perhaps the universe needs guardians as well as builders. Rodriguez smiled. And perhaps the best civilizations are those that learn to be both.